Welcome back to Medieval Kingdoms 1212 AD, the glorious mod for Total War Attila. Getting a good look at the Emperor of Nicaea right now, freshly removed from his seat of power in Constantinople, pushed further into the desert by the traitors of the Fourth Crusade. He's royally pissed off this evening and intends to blow off some steam by killing an army sent by the Ayyubid dynasty. My army will consist of 2 swordsmen, 3 Byzantine guard swordsmen, you can see them right now, some really cool looking models on them. A unit of Varangian Guard here in the back, and these guys are really interesting actually. They're capped at 32 weapon damage, which is quite high, but 0 armor piercing damage, which was an interesting decision by the mod creators. I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, but they are definitely less effective than axes generally are in Total War Attila, that's for sure. But I have a line of 4 pike units and 5 crossbowmen up front. Gonna be doing some skirmishing with them. And on my left flank, I have a guard cavalry unit and 2 cataphracts backing up. We decided to cap our cavalry at 4 for this battle. And my opponent is none other than Pixelated Apollo, who will be playing the Ayyubid Sultanate. Some Ghulam horse archers and Askari nobles on his right flank, backed up by some Adath spears. Up front, a bunch of Adath archers and the Ghulam foot guard, who are actually quite capable in melee as well, as you can see from their very heavy armor. They're quite decent. They're going to take a long time to kill. That's definitely one of the things about this mod. Just heard a Roman guy scream. For some reason, all of the factions in this mod have Roman voice acting. So I'm sure that'll get changed by the time the mod actually comes out. And he has 4 June swordsmen here in the back, and then 4 Mamluk to Bardaria. Those are the 2-handed axe units. They also have 32 weapon damage and 0 armor piercing. So looking at some more Askari nobles and the Sultan bodyguard here, and those are the armies. So Pixelated Apollo has a pretty distinct skirmish advantage here actually. Same amount of skirmishers on both sides, but he outranges me and his archers are simply better. Ghulam foot archers are definitely going to be a problem for me this battle, and he's on top of a nice little hill that gives him very nice line of sight on my guys. But I'm content to do a little bit of skirmishing for right now, see what kind of damage I can do to him, and if I start taking too much damage, I can just start my advance and quickly close the gap to push him off that hill, hopefully. I'm pretty confident with my cavalry micro. If I take good cav engagements this battle, I should be able to lock up the flanks and prevent his guys from outflanking me and funnel him down the center. And that's where my pike line is going to be very effective. Pikes are extremely good in this mod, as well as the halberds. The pikes have 43 melee damage. You can see me doing some HP damage to his cavalry up here. He tried to go up the center to get at my archers, but the pikes are, I don't know what it is. I know they have higher weapon damage, the 43 weapon damage. I think that might be a higher value than what they have in Attila, but I just know that they're much more effective in this mod. I can't quite put my finger on it. I'd have to compare the stats, but they are definitely they're a threat in this mod. They can kill a lot of stuff. You see his Ghulams, beautiful model there, the shields on their back shining in the desert sun. It really is a gorgeous mod, and I've said it before, Attila is not the best optimized game. In fact, it's probably the worst optimized game in Total War history. At least it feels that way sometimes when you put rain or snow on and zoom down, but it is a gorgeous looking game. And again, I can't give the mod creators enough props. They've done a gorgeous, brilliant job of making these unit models. Started to take some noticeable casualties on my skirmish line up front. Not ideal, but off to my left, Apollo has a Ghulam horse archer in Cantabrian Circle, which has been an extremely useless ability for a very, very long time in Total War. I was just intending on chasing him off, and instead, Cantabrian's going to get a lot of his guys killed here. You gave them movement orders, but they're not going to run away fast enough. They're actually going to stop, and I'm going to get 10 or 15 kills, rack up about 15 kills on this horse archer unit as he's trying to run away, which is really good for me, and it's a super nice touch actually from the mod creators here, the blue and purple robes on the backs of these bodyguard. One of the more expensive dyes in antiquity, and I believe in the Middle Ages as well. Looks very good on those Emperor's bodyguard. But I've taken, in fact, one of my crossbows is actually going to arrive from the field here, and at this point I've had enough of the skirmish battle. I've taken more casualties than I'd like to, and I'm confident in my infantry and cavalry, honestly, so I'm going to move up here and try to force an engagement. If I can force a fight, force his guys to funnel directly onto the front of my pike line, and charge directly into a pike wall, it's going to be ideal for me. Neither the Mamluks nor the June swordsmen are going to have a very good time charging directly onto pikes, so you can see them glistening in the sun, and actually Apollo's going to do the very smart thing here and attempt to kite away from me. So he's going to pull back, not wanting to take an engagement at the lower part of the hill, pull back higher up and maybe get a better downhill charge bonus higher up on the hill. But he's going to start pulling away here, leaving his spears out on the flanks. That's what he should be doing. You need to back up cavalry engagements with spears on this mod particularly. It's important in Attila, but it's way more important on this mod because of how slowly cavalry dies. You need as many units as you can to get into a tied down cav unit and kill them. So pikes are moving up now, and actually Apollo is not continuing to kite away, which I think might be a mistake. He's going to charge here, and I'm going to stop my pikes and get those pike walls down, and Jun Swordsman going to charge directly onto the front of the pike wall, and this is not going to be a good engagement for the Ayyubids at all. No flanking on any of these pike units. They're going to just have to bust through these 6 or 7 foot long pikes, and with a low armor Jun Swordsman, that's not ideal. And then my charge from the guard cavalry is going to come up here with cataphracts. Big charge into 2 blobbed up units of Tabardaria. And that is a big deal. One of the easiest ways to lose an engagement in Attila or lose a battle is get your infantry charged directly in the face by cavalry, and got a really, really nice charge off there. Probably killed about 50 men off the charge. And look at how fast these Jun Swordsmen are routing right now. Directly onto the pike wall, not having a good time, and of course I backed up the pikes with some spears. Got a good engagement with my Emperor's bodyguard, routed one of those spear units, got a flanking charge into it as he was trying to kill some of my cataphracts. That cav fight will take a long time, but I routed the spears that would have made that fight much more difficult. So you see the Tabardaria now trying to cut through this pike wall. It's not going to go particularly well for them, I don't think. Got my pikes into a flanking position, and my Byzantine guard swordsmen with those awesome face coverings and the really cool looking shields in melee combat there. That's going to be a good engagement for me. Cavalry on the flanks here fighting. Lots of death and destruction. If I can win on the flanks here, this is going to be a problem, because this is going to be really bad for Apollo, because the middle did not go well for him at all. In fact, all his Jun swordsmen are pretty much routing at this point. The Varangian guard got a really nice charge off into the flank of the Sadath spear. That's going to be a great engagement for me. Charge bonuses again aren't anywhere near as big as they are in Total War Attila, but it's an Adath spear. It's a low tier or mid tier spear unit, and they actually weren't facing me, so the Varangians routed them very quickly. And this is going really poorly for the Ayyubids right now. My engagement's gone pretty well pretty much everywhere I wanted it to. Some substantial wavering and routing going on the left flank of the Ayyubid army. The center's already crumbled where my pikes did really fantastic work for me. And he's going to try to take out my Varangian guard with a rear charge from the Sultan bodyguard, but I'm going to quickly intercept that and tie them down with some cataphracts and probably get a good chance of killing the Sultan himself. I don't think they're going to be able to extricate themselves from that engagement alive. But in the center now, the Ghulam foot guard and his other archers are going to have to commit to melee combat. Most of the main line infantry has routed, and their high armor and weapon damage is actually going to do quite a bit of work against my swords. One of my units is going to get a little bit isolated and take quite a bit of damage there, but his right flank is completely crumbled now except for the foot archer. This Tabardaria is going to rout from the field, and there's simply too much left on the field for him to deal with. The melee engagement was really quick and bloody, and Apollo knew it was a mistake charging directly onto those pikes as soon as he did it. And I think at the beginning he had the right idea, kiting away and making full use of those archer units, just skirmishing them down. If he had focus fired my pikes at the beginning of the battle, and as he retreated up to that hill and just shot at my pikes before he charged in, I think that this could have been a very different battle. But that cataphract charge into his axes took them down to about half strength, and his full YOLO charge into my pike wall put the nail in the proverbial coffin there for him. So Ayyubids are going to rout from the field. Byzantines will take it. The Empire of Nicaea going to move on and enjoy the spoils of war there. So good battle to Pixelated Apollo. Thank you very much for joining me, sir. We actually played a bunch of battles, and we'll be doing some more content on this mod together very soon. Probably do some dual commentaries as well, and so definitely look out for those. But y'all can take a good look at the kills right now for both sides. You can see my pikes did quite a bit of damage, and my cavalry did quite well as well. Tabardaria over on the other side did not do enough for him, and his mainline infantry just kind of got slaughtered on the front of my pikes. But hope you guys enjoyed the battle, and I'll see you all in the next chapter.